The Conservation Commission discusses the placement of 3 new pump-out facilities in Hyannis Harbor. We have details from last night's Conservation Commission meeting. And tourism officials hope a new plan will help promote off-road biking on Cape Cod. Plus, the state recognizes a local arts group. These stories and more on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Wednesday, February 19th, 2014. I'm Sarah Mannel. The Conservation Commission unanimously approves plans to install 3 new pump-out facilities in Hyannis Harbor at its meeting this week. But before the vote, there was a lengthy discussion about who will have access to the facilities, specifically the 2 that will be installed on the Highline Cruises dock. Town engineer Roger Parsons talked about the need for the new facilities.
In order to comply with the no discharge area regulations imposed by the state, and supported by many communities, obviously. The town originally applied for and received a grant back in 2012 to design or analyze and design pump-out facilities in the Hyannis Harbor area. We were fortunate to receive the grant, and the monies that we received covered entirely the application for permits as well as the design, working again with our consultant. We went out for an RFP on that, by the way. I believe a letter has actually been submitted to the Commission from the Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs. So within that would be a much more eloquent description of the whole purpose behind this. But suffice to say, the reasons that we're looking to support this pump-out facility for the common good and the improvement of our water quality, both in the water and in the beaches and every area surrounding it. So I think we can kind of appreciate that very much. Secondly, in working this particular application out, we've been working, of course, with our consultant, with our harbor master, Dan Horn, and with the Highline Cruise facility. Reason was that the Highline, represent a large usage of the harbor in this vicinity where no pump-out exists. We did not exclusively create this pump-out facility for their use. We have actually allowed for the use of all commercial vehicles to use both our seasonal connecting point, and again, Mr. Donahue will explain exactly where these are, as well as the Highline facility. So the Highline facility on the finger piers, the pump-out facilities, will be available for commercial vehicles. The other advantage of this particular layout, if I may, Mr. Chairman, is that by utilizing Highline property and thence connection to the town sewer, which we've investigated, we will be entering into a covenant or an agreement with Highline so that they take over the majority, if not all, of the maintenance of this facility. That's a big advantage to us because of the costs and because of the availability of our staff and materials.
Commission member Scott Blazes expressed concerns that recreational boaters would have trouble accessing the pump-out facilities.
I've been doing this now for nearly 15 years, and I'm a merchant mariner. I operate a fishing boat, and I end up with an awful lot of calls and complaints. On a regular basis, vessels attempt to access the pump out at Bismore Park, and they're, told to turn around and, use Hyannis Marina, which is great. I mean, Hyannis Marina, has been a good citizen, helping the town out forever. But, people get turned away on a routine basis from, Bismore Park because the town parks fishing boats there, and there's no way to, to get to it. So, what I'm looking for is, some sort of a solution to this dilemma. And at any time during the boating season, somebody should be able to, in dusk to dawn or some reasonable schedule, be able to get to have their heads pumped out at a municipal expense rather than having a private marina, burden of, carry the full burden of handling such a big harbor. So
Parson says one thing that will be important to address is the issue of educating boaters about the new facilities and their operation structure.
The present pump-out town facilities are advertised. There's education. There's an education component to this. In speaking with the harbor master, the boaters that come in frequently, regularly, will hear about it through an education process. As far as the actual beyond that, notification, radio, etc., availability, that will have to be brought into the system, so to speak, so that the availability of both the seasonal, which is primarily going to be, I would think, a recreational facility adjacent to the one presently at Bismore, and the opportunity to tie up and do the discharge at the, quote, locations of Highline, which is going to be available, will all have to be rolled into this program. So there will be information, just like there is now. There's an intricate methodology of communicating with, the existing boating community, as I presume new boating community. And as Mr. Blazes mentions, he's part of that. So I would imagine the educational component to this is part of what has to be addressed even more.
Ultimately, the committee chose to add a stipulation to the use agreement that would prohibit the extended docking of boats at pump-out facilities from dawn to dusk. The measure aims to ensure the pump-out stations will be available for recreational boaters during peak hours. The commission unanimously approved the proposal. Tourism officials are working to expand off-road bicycling on Cape Cod. Cape Cod Chamber of Commerce CEO Wendy Northcross says the movement could help give tourism a boost.
The vision really is to create a better mountain bike experience on Cape Cod. People are pretty much aware of our paved bike paths, our protected bike paths, but there's a whole group of people that really love to do that off-road unpaved bike path experience. And we've got a lot of that on the Cape. It's just not maybe quite as well organized or promoted as it could be. So, we're working together because we want to make sure that we can promote something, but also protect the trails. We want to promote the sport, and what will help the Cape's economy in all 4 seasons. But we want to do it in the right way. We want to be thoughtful about it, and we want to be good neighbors, and we want to actually try to create resources that can improve bike trails over time, or maybe connect trails in one town to another town, like to connect Barnstable's Trail of Tears to the town of Sandwich over time. But so for the first, few meetings that we've had, and we've just had a couple of meetings, and Mark Ells has been great about coming to help advise us. We've got participants from the Cape Cod Commission, participants from the New England Mountain Bike Association, and then people from our chamber. But we're looking for, the best sites to kind of map them out, rank them like you would a ski mountain, create an overlay map that then can be used for putting up on a website so people could download to their iPhone or just download a printed map and know where they can get a great off-road bike experience on Cape Cod.
Northcross says there is also an effort to link existing off-road bike paths together.
Some of those trails might be linked together on paved bike ways that are marked, either marked on the road or off the road and protected. But we think over time we could create some new trails. But for now, let's inventory what what the Cape already has. Certainly, the Trail of Tears is a good starting point because the town of Barnstable is always such a great partner. But there's there's assets out on the military base. There's stuff at the Punk Lands down Cape. There's stuff at Nickerson State Park. And then you can link it all up eventually to the Cape Cod Rail Trail, which is actually being expanded into the Mid-Cape area. And with the Cape Cod Regional Transit Authority, with their bike racks on their buses, there's ways to get from trail to trail. So it's kind of an interesting way of looking at Cape Cod, sort of a new way, at least for us, to say, gee, maybe there's a growing sport here.
Northcross hopes to launch a new website by midsummer that will detail existing trails for residents and visitors according to the level of difficulty. The Mid-Cape Cultural Council is named the Council of the Year. This is the first award of its kind given by the Massachusetts Cultural Council. The MCC was established as a regional council in 2003 and is a partnership between the towns of Barnstable and Yarmouth. It awards grants to individual schools and organizations for projects that benefit the Mid-Cape region. The council also sponsors and produces events related to the arts. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mannel.